Today we're going to learn about the DoWhile program. So if you could, go to Schoology, go to Chapter 3. Down at the bottom you'll find a DoWhile program document, Word document. You can open that if you want to help you follow along. Also you have a Java program that you can download and fill in as we go along. In the last class, we learned about a while program. Today, we're going to learn about the DoWhile program. The unique feature, or the most significant difference between a while program and a DoWhile program, is a DoWhile program guarantees that everything, all the code that's in the body of the loop, will be reached or run at least once. You can't stop it, because the program is run from top down. When it reaches the DoWhile program, it enters the loop, no matter what, does everything in your executable code, and then at the end, you have your Boolean expression that will decide, true or false, whether the loop is run over again. So that's a DoWhile. There are some unique characteristics of a DoWhile. If you look at lines 11 through 14, the structure of it starts with a do, then it has this curly bracket. It has all the executable lines of code. You know, if I spell executable right, in there, it could be anything, all right? And then the last line is where your Boolean expression is. You have your closing curly bracket followed by the word while, something that you want to check for true or false value of. Now here's the unique thing. The last line, the while, has a semicolon. You have to remember that. In the past, the headers don't have semicolons. Header of a class, header of a method, header of an if statement, header of a while, they all do not have semicolons. But a DoWhile, the last line, has a semicolon. All right, so in our program today, what we're going to do is we're going to enter grades, and using an if-else if, it's going to take the letter grade, convert it to some letter value, and add them all up and divide by how many letters we've entered. So we're going to start off with a couple. We want to use a scanner. We want use user input. So we're going to put in those java.util.scanner. And then our second one, we're going to use decimal format. Because we're going to make our average 4 decimal places. All right, so there are 2 import statements. Remember, these can go before all your comments or after your comments, just as long as they occur prior to your class header. All right, so now we need a couple objects. So scanner, scan, new scanner. All right. Now we're going to get a decimal format object. I'm going to do 4 decimals. So I'm going to call it dec4. Alrighty, boom. All right, so we got quote, octothorpe, comma, octothorpe, 0 decimal. Now I'm going to force it to 4 decimals. So even if there's zeros, I want them to show 0. Okay? If we used octothorpes, if it was like 2.14, it would stop at the 4 and the last 2 would not be zeros. It would just be empty. So here's are all our instant variables. We have a character grade, so characters A, B, C, D, E. We got doubles, which are grade values, which are 4.0, 3.0, 2.0, 1.0, and 0.0. We're going to add them all up. We're going to do an average. Because these two are both doubles, our average is going to be a double. We want to keep track of how many grades we enter, so we have an increment, count, and we have response, which is a string, which is going to be yes or no, because at the end of our do while, we're going to ask if the user wants to enter another grade. So it will continue or not. All right. And so now let's set a couple things in our constructor to 0. So we got grade value, spell it right. It'll be the same as the sum, which will be the same as average. Which all be 0.0. And also our count is going to start at 0. All right. So we set some initial values. Now here's our main method, do while start, do while. So it's going to start our program. So here's our program up here. So first what we're going to do is we're going to tell people what the program does. System.out.println this program will average the grades, all right, quote, concatenate the user enters. Okay. So just a general statement, it's just going to say this program will average the grades the user enters. All right. So now we're going to do our do while. We start with do return, open squiggle bracket, return, close squiggle bracket, and then while. Now here we want our Boolean question, and what we're going to do is we're going to ask, do we want to enter another grade? So in that case, our response, we're going to compare that to equals, ignore case because I don't want to worry about how some people spell it, to no. And here, don't forget the semicolon. All right. So let's go right above here, and now we're in our do. So in our do, we have to ask the user system.out.print enter a letter grade. All right. Now we're going to take that letter grade, I'm going to put it in grade, scan dot next. All right. We only want the first letter, dot char at. Okay. So, and we got the first letter grade. Oh, let's clear our keyboard. Okay, so this is going to take a letter grade. Now, keep in mind, these are only single letter grades. We're not going to have any A minuses, B pluses. You might be asked to do that for homework. Who knows? We'll see. Okay, so now we're gonna check to see if it's an A. If it's an A, we're gonna assign the grade value 4.0. So we're gonna use an if else if. So if the grade is equal to an A, or the grade is equal to the other A. All right, so this is an or. If either one of these is true, this is so because I can't use a string method to convert, and we'll do this in part 2.